Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Extrude Reacts, and today we're going to be reacting to 10 amazing people who survived the impossible.
The will to survive is strong in these people. Today we're going to be looking at 10 amazing people who survived the impossible. Stay tuned for number 1. This guy must be the unluckiest person that ever lived. Or perhaps the luckiest. Honestly, it's up to you. Number 10. Aaron Ralston.
Using that to grab and twist and rip.
Bro, did he amputate? No
when
way.
Faced with a life and death situation, what will you be willing to do just to give you a better chance for survival? Would you be willing to give an arm or a leg? Our first entry on this list took this expression quite literally.
Bro, imagine being stuck in a cliff like that.
While climbing Utah's Blue John Canyon, Aaron Ralston found himself in a nearly impossible situation as a boulder came free, crashing down upon him and pinning his hand and forearm.
That's why you never go rock climbing. Too dangerous.
Before he
No way.
recognized that he had no choice but to do something drastic, as he was out of supplies and would quickly succumb to dehydration. It was then that Ralston made a choice many struggle to truly understand, amputating his own right hand, armed with nothing but a multitude.
Imagine the pain he went through that.
To do so, he had to first break the bone and cut
I can't imagine that. I haven't broken a limb or anything yet.
His will to survive was strong enough. He
I
found
do
the
not
courage
want
to
to
make
cut
a
my
major
arm off.
sacrifice,
Because imagine
but this courage
spending
saved
your whole
his
life like that.
Number 9. The Stella Maris rugby team.
Mary, full of grace, Lord is with you. Bless that thou among women, blessed is the child.
Technically speaking, it's definitely safer to travel via airplane rather than by driving your car. However, there are certain people that are terrified to fly, and with good reason. Plane crashes, when it doesn't kill you outright, can put you in a situation where survival can be impossible. What should have been a routine flight to attend a rugby match turned into a harrowing event for the Stella Maris college rugby team when the plane they were on crashed into a snow-covered mountain on October 12, 1972. A total of 17 people were killed instantly, or died within minutes, but the worst wasn't over for the survivors. Stranded on the mountainside, they were forced to survive in freezing conditions with no shelter and very little food. Using what they could of the mangled fuselage, they huddled together while waiting to be rescued. Unfortunately, the harsh conditions, as well as an avalanche, would claim the life of another 10.
Half the team's dead.
And while it's certainly not a great thing, they were forced to eat the flesh of their deceased teammates to survive.
Did you guys hear that?
Hey, they survived.
After
a total of 60 days on the mountain, the 2 fittest survivors braved a 12-day trek to seek help, saving those who remained. A total of 16 of the 45
in my friend group
survived.
Hopefully I'm not the first one to die or get eaten.
Truman Duncan.
You ready to head down and take a look at the yard?
Sure am. You ready?
Yeah, ready.
Okay.
Okay, great.
What happened to him?
Getting hit by a train is most of the time a surefire way to get yourself pretty messily killed. But with the perfect combination of luck and happenstance, even getting run over by a speeding train can be survivable. In 2006, Truman Duncan was working the rail yards in Cleburne, Texas, when he was swept underneath a moving train. The rail car dragged Duncan a total of 75 feet, and his lower body was so mangled that he was nearly cut in half at the waist. Somehow, the man not only managed to stay focused and conscious, he actually made the call to 911 himself from his cell phone. Duncan's injuries required a total of 23 surgeries over a 6-week period. This costed him both legs and one of his kidneys.
2 legs and a kidney.
Number 7.
Mad.
Anatoly Burgoski.
So
Most
lucky.
people think that it's the blue-collar jobs that are dangerous. Nobody thinks that being a physicist can be a perilous trade as well. Russian physicist Anatoly Burgoski highlighted the incredible dangers faced by scientists due to the equipment that they are handling on a regular basis. While checking out a piece of malfunctioning equipment, Burgoski was struck in the head with a beam from the largest Soviet particle accelerator. While experts report that 1,000 rads is enough to pretty much kill anyone that comes in contact with it, the particle beam that struck Burgoski measured at approximately 200,000 rads. Miraculously, the beam missed his brainstem, damaging only a small portion of his brain and paralyzing the left side of his face. In fact, in time, his brain actually began to recover from the injury.
He's so lucky. Good thing about the brain, yeah, good knowledge to keep. Your cells, regenerate very quickly compared to all the other organs.
Getting lost in the desert may seem to be an impossible situation to get out from. In fact, many people that have been lost in this arid wilderness have never been seen again, dead or alive. But having an unwavering will to live and the willingness to do whatever it takes, This next entry on our list proves that surviving getting lost in the desert is quite possible. Mauro Prosperi had his eye on the prize as he made the decision to take on arguably the toughest race of its kind, the Marathon des Sables, a 6-day race through the Sahara Desert.
Yeah, you're crazy if you do this.
Unfortunately, a sandstorm would hit
Man
the
says
race,
60
causing
meters.
Prosperi to become
Oh,
lost
nah, I am not doing that. No way. If you do this, you're an idiot. Just accept it. Who would do a competition in a desert?
He ran out of food and water after the first 24 hours, as he wasn't stocked up for any form of long-term survival. He would spend a total of 10 days out in the desert, feeding off bats and reptiles and drinking his own urine before a nomadic family would find him and bring him to safety.
Reptile and oh
Number
my
5.
Lord. No, yeah, no.
Vesna Volovic.
I'll just admit I died.
What if I told you it's perfectly survivable to fall from 33,000 feet and still live? You would probably say that yes, but with, you know, the use of a parachute.
No parachute.
Well, then I'd go on to tell you that there was no parachute involved, and you'd probably say that I'm out of my mind until I tell you the story about this person next on our list.
Yeah, fully.
Stewardess Vesna Volovic boarded a Yugoslavian airline
Man said 33,000 feet from the sky.
But she had no idea
people
that her
die from
entire
like
life was about to
3
change.
floors.
Within
Just jumping off 3 floors of a building.
Known as Utash planted a powerful explosive which would claim the lives of all passengers and crew on board, with the exception of Volovic. Miraculously, the stewardess somehow survived a 33,000-foot fall, although she was understandably in rough shape. She had 3 crushed vertebrae, both legs were broken, and a fractured skull. Miraculously, she would somehow make a complete recovery, going on to lead a happy life and earning her a spot in the Guinness Book of World Records for the highest fall survived without a parachute.
Fair enough.
Number
Fair
4.
enough, man. She's got...
Robert Evans.
She is lucky.
Earlier in this list, we have established that if you were extremely lucky, you would be able to survive getting run over by a train. But what if you get hit by a train and then fall off a bridge, only a few hours after getting hit by a car? Consider yourself the luckiest person alive if you survived.
I was not
all
expecting
3.
that.
There actually is a man who did.
Man said
when 46-year-old
car
Robert
accident,
Evans survived
and
being
then
hit by
a couple of hours later get run over by a train and fall off a bridge.
That treated and released the man told him just how lucky he was.
How can you even be alive?
With nothing but minor injuries, he was returned to the streets at approximately 3 a.m. Unfortunately, this wouldn't be the only visit to the hospital for Evans that day. At approximately 4:45 a.m. that same day, Evans was crossing a railroad bridge when he was suddenly struck by a coal train, sending him plunging 10 feet from the bridge into the creek below. Surprisingly, Evans once again suffered only non-life-threatening injuries and was released once again from the hospital later that day. Number 3. Greg Rasmussen.
How are they this lucky?
It holds an endless fascination. I mean,
Did he survive getting eaten by a lion or something?
It's like a book that just never ends.
Surviving in the desert is hard enough, but surviving in the desert after surviving a plane crash is almost impossible. But this next entry in our list did achieve the impossible, not only surviving a plane crash in the harsh conditions of the desert, but he did it without the use of both of his legs. While flying over the Kalahari Desert, Greg Rasmussen suddenly found himself faced with intense winds which would ultimately cause his plane to crash. Lost in the desert sands, the crash would render his legs completely useless, a situation that would leave most people ready to give up the battle. But not Rasmussen.
You can't have someone pissing on him.
He crawled into the shadow of a tree to avoid the harsh sun while waiting for rescue. It would be 24 hours before rescuers would find the man. During that time, he would face vultures, elephants, and lions crawling under the destroyed fuselage and banging on the wreckage to ward off predators. It would take over 100 operations to restore partial use of the man's legs.
Proper wildlife getting attacked by animals.
Now it's time for today's best pick. And today we're going to be looking at solid proof that you don't need to drink and drive. Number 2. Carlos Rodriguez.
Does he have a brain?
Barred out on drugs.
No, I mean he does have a brain, but what happened to like everything that was over here?
Carlos
I don't know why he reminds me of a Disney character.
Of Happy, as he is called by his friends.
I'll put an image around here somewhere.
Shown here, which
when I talk about
that name. Somehow he survived an accident, leaving him with only half of his head.
How do you survive that?
His unique appearance on a car accident caused by drinking and drugs, which he hit a pole and was ejected through his windshield, and you could probably guess
don't drink and drive. Drivers of
London. It's obvious that the other half
don't
of
drink.
Happy's head ended up all over the road. What's not so obvious is how the heck
don't
he's
drink
still
and
there
drive.
to tell us about it.
You're gonna end up like him,
accident at 14,
or
but
even
his
worse.
unusual head only recently went
But hopefully
viral.
not.
His mugshot was distributed online after an arrest for soliciting
That's crazy, bro.
prostitution.
Imagine your head
In a
being
video interview,
squished.
Carlos had this advice for any reckless youth who may be watching. And this is how the old boys come out. That is why it's not good drinking and driving.
That's
no good,
crazy.
Kids. Oh, is it only drinking and driving that's terrible, you know, not soliciting prostitution? Yeah, sure, let's go with that advice. So, dear viewers, please heed Happy's advice. He's lucky enough to survive the accident with only half of his head missing.
Car crash.
Many others in the past weren't quite that lucky.
I saved the best for last, but first, I have a quick challenge that takes only 5 seconds.
What happened to the guy's voice? What the hell? Why did he turn into
the next 5 seconds, you'll
teenager?
Get 10 years of amazing luck. Just try it. It really works.
Number 1.
I guess I ain't gonna get the luck.
Frans Salak.
In 62, I was board train which plunged into icy river.
And finally on our list, we'll meet someone who is either the luckiest or unluckiest person alive, depending on your point of view at least. At number 1 on our list, I present to you Croatian music teacher Frans Salak. Cheating death a total of 7 times, his life story is almost unbelievable.
7 times?
At the age of 33, Salak boarded a train that flew off the track, crashing into the river. A total of 17 people were killed, but he survived the ordeal. Only a year later, he was sucked out of a plane through a malfunctioning door, landing on a haystack and surviving while the plane itself crashed.
What was it right there? Man said, death will have to sue the airline. I do guess. Oh, nah,
As
bro,
if
what the
that
hell?
wasn't enough, 3 years later, he was on board a bus that skidded off the road, killing 4. But once again, he walked away. This wasn't the end of his bad-good luck. The engine in his car exploded twice at the age of 41 and 44, but both times he survived. He was then hit by a bus at 66 and survived a serious car accident at 67. Life finally took a turn for the better when Salak won the lottery at the age of 74, but he quickly realized money wouldn't buy happiness.
Man said
he gave his winnings
he survived
away to family
7
and friends,
times,
keeping just enough for he and his wife to live on at the age of 81,
7 times,
and lived out the final
is
years of his life
technically
in
like a
quiet
cat.
peace. Which inspiring story of survival touched you the most? Let us know in the comments. As always, everybody, thank you all for watching. See you next time.